Hey y'all, Rob the American here, and welcome to Chapter 2 of Tales of Manchester and of Wristwatches. This is the channel where an American guy, me, takes us through the city of Manchester, England, looking at iconic buildings. And once we're there, I tell you a little story about a watch. So I'm going to strap this on. There we go. Very nice. So I'm going to strap this on and we'll head out for a wander. Now last time I took y'all to Manchester Central Library. Today I've got something quintessentially English, a pub. It's not just any pub, it's a pub with a rich history, and it's called the Briton's Protection. A very unusual name, a very unusual pub. So why don't we have a wander over now? Come on. Okay, y'all, we are making our way down to Briton's Protection, where it's a cold, gray day. It's about 41 degrees Fahrenheit. Not sure what Celsius that is. I keep forgetting. I'm ready for action here. See that? Okay, so here's the convention center on our right. It's pretty quiet this morning. I guess not much going on. They turned this in. They had barricades put up when COVID first happened. They put barricades all around this center, and it became what they called the Nightingale Hospitals. And I tried to become a volunteer over there. I remember going over there and banging on the glass, and they wouldn't let me in. And then I became friendly with some of the security guards, and basically it was not used the whole time. And then just across the street, more modern building, is Bridgewater Hall. That's a concert venue. I've seen many concerts there since I've been in Manchester. I'm trying to think of who I've seen. Really diverse talent. I saw George Benson there. Are you jazz fans? I saw, Chris Cornell played there. Gosh, that was right before he died. That was a great show. Let's make our way to Briton's Protection. Check the time first. Okay, that's a good time. As we pass Bridgewater Hall, Briton's Protection is just now coming into view. And there she is. Briton's Protection was opened in 1806, and it's an example of Georgian architecture. So it's very simple and basic, not like the more ornate Victorian style, which was to come many decades later. It's near the site of what became known as the Peterloo Massacre, which was a few years after that, and allegedly they brought some of the wounded into Briton's Protection at the time. There was a movie called Peterloo that came out relatively recently. You can check that out if you want to know more. And the Briton's Protection obviously has a very unique name, and that's because it was a recruitment center for what would then have been the Napoleonic Wars. Again, representing the war effort. The pub doesn't appear to be open. Let's check the time. Oh, that's a good time. That's a very good time. But unfortunately, it's too early for the pub. So why don't we have a wander around town, and we will come on back in a little bit. Come on, y'all. All right, why don't we have a wander on in? Now, even though this is a Georgian building, it had been restored to a Victorian standard, so the interiors are Victorian. And you'll see as we come in all of the Victorian pictures, representations of the Peterloo Massacre, as I had mentioned before. So they line all the walls, and then you have this super cool tile. Again, look at the ceiling, the gilded ceiling, very much of the Victorian era. And then we'll go into another one with a working fireplace. This is one of the specific features. And if you notice the wallpaper on the side. Again, very much a Victorian representation. And that super cool ceiling. Okay, now we're going to go around to the front and have a look at the main bar. All right, now we are walking through the main entrance of the pub. Very much a Victorian era pub. We've got John, our friendly Scottish bartender, but we can't understand him, so we'll just keep walking.
Yeah.
All right. And then you can see the gilded ceilings and all the whiskeys. John, how many whiskeys do y'all have?
Right now I've got about 415.
415. Wow, I had said 300.
Yeah, it used to be 300, but I've been here for 6 years, 7 years now, so I've adapted to that. Adding more on.
For those of you who couldn't understand what he said, I'll put subtitles at the bottom.
Americans just listen in.
All right, settle down. An era pub. All right, y'all. We're having a seat in the pub. Got my drink. Cheers, y'all. That's good. All right. So today's timepiece is this. Oh, is that upside down? No, there we go. Is that? Oh, no, like that. Yeah. Let's try that again. There we go. It is a Rolex Oyster Perpetual 41 millimeter or OP41 in the green lacquer dial. Why don't we take that off? It might be easier to show than keeping my arm upside down and getting some kind of cramp or something. This came into my possession quite unusually, let's say. So like our last video, Rolex is, these days you can't walk into a Rolex store and buy a watch. It's just the way it is. The demand is so high. You go in, you express interest in the watch, and then you might get a call a month later, a year later, a few years later, depending on the model. And these Oyster Perpetuals, when they came out in it's been 2 years, maybe 2020, 2 or 3 years, came out in unique colors. They were in high demand, even though this is the very basic Rolex model. But the demand was so high, you might end up waiting for a long time. I know some people who are still waiting, and they've been on the list for a long time. Now, I didn't have to go through that. It's really cool how it happened. So I have a dealer that I work with that know me, and this gentleman who I work with is also another watch lover, and he actually will bring me some of his own personal collection when we get together and we just talk about watches. It's an absolute. It's hard to describe if you don't have the bug. Once you get the bug, then you'll understand. So had been looking for a green dial watch. You know, most of the most popular colors: blue, black, white. Green is an up and coming color, but they don't have them. So I had been looking around for green watches, and I had narrowed it down pretty much. My decision was basically an IWC Mark 20 with a green dial. I'll show you all a picture of that. IWC is another Swiss brand. It had a beautiful green sunburst dial, and it pretty much had decided. I also looked at a Piaget, but it turned out that the Polo, the color was more blue than green, so I ruled that one out. But really nice dealer for those also in London, and so I was in the dealership, and they sell IWC and they sell Rolex and Tudor. I think that's it, and they did not have the green dial that I wanted with the bracelet on it. So I've been waiting, and I went in again, and we were looking, and he pulled it out. We put it on a rubber strap, which I really like, and he said, "Well, we've got the OP in green dial, but it's 36. It's much smaller." So I said, "You want to see that?" And I said, "Yeah, of course. Bring it on out." So I brought it out, and I really liked it, but it was too small. I felt like 36 millimeters. It's kind of bordering on a lady's size to me. So we were looking at it, and while we were sitting there, one of his co-workers walked by and said, "Oh, we just got a delivery, and there might be a watch you'd be interested in that's been delivered." So my guy, he excused himself and disappeared, and then he came back carrying this in his hand. He says, "Look what I've got, this 41." And as soon as I saw it and put it on my wrist, I just thought, yeah, I completely forgot about the IWC. So I was like, oh wow, this is really great. This is super, blah blah blah. And I said, look, I know y'all have, I'm sure this is spoken for and all of this, and you have to wait your turn and all of that. And he kind of had a big grin on his face, and he said, "Rob, if you want it, it's yours." And I said, "Really?" And again, I think it goes down to the fact that you build relationships with people, and people trust you and you trust them, because some people buy watches for investment and they'll stick them in a safety deposit box, and you know, that's not cool. If you're not going to wear it, I mean, it takes it away from people that actually love it. And I was raised in a small Texas town, and my daddy always said, you treat people like you want to be treated, and that's how I try to live my life. And it served me well, but I don't do it to get things. I do it because it's the right thing to do. And you know, and I have so much to be grateful for in my life, and this is just another piece. And so I said, let me think about it. I just want to make sure I got it right. So I said, let's hold off. So I got home, and I was tossing and turning, thinking, why didn't I get it? Why didn't I get it? So I woke up the next morning, and I texted him right away, and I said, hey, if y'all still have it, I'd like to have it. And he got back to me right away with a picture of it, and he said, Rob, if you want it, it's still yours. So I went right in and picked it up, and that's how I have this in my hand right now. So why don't we have a closer look at it, and you'll see if you can understand why I was so drawn in by it. All right, so there it is in the catalog, and here it is in real life. You can see that deep lacquered green. Again, it's not a sunburst green. It is a flat, matte lacquered green. And I tried to explain the shade of it, but I think it's like a British racing green, whereas somebody described it more like a tennis court, the green used to paint tennis courts. Perfect. So you can see it's no date complications. It's very straightforward with the time. You've got the markers or batons all the way around with the double markers at the 3, 6, and 9. You've got the crown at the top with the Oyster Perpetual stainless bracelet. And Rolex has what they call an easy link system. Now, one thing that I learned when I started collecting watches and appreciating watches is that wrists grow. They actually change. So, for example, in the morning, you put a watch on a bracelet, and it feels nice and snug, but perfect. But your wrist expands, maybe through heat or just activity. And I've found that to be true also when wearing a watch, and it seems like it's gotten tight, and then I take it off in the afternoon. So they have what they call an easy link system, which let's see if y'all can see this. So you've got underneath the latch where you can pop it out, and it expands 5 millimeters. And so in the morning you just click it into place, and then by the afternoon, if it feels tight, just pull that out, put it back on. How cool is that? There you go. And that's our OP. All right, y'all, so we're going to tell our friend John goodbye and thank him for welcoming us to Briton's Protection. So, John.
Cheers, guys. Don't worry about it. All fun. Come in anytime you want. Just say Rob sent you. I'll say hi.
There you go. He's a good man. Thanks, John. All right, y'all, so hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed having a look at this beauty, and hope you enjoyed the tour of the Briton's Protection. So if you find yourself in Manchester or live here or visiting, definitely put the Briton's Protection at the top of your pub list and look for our favorite Scottish bartender, John, and be sure and tell him that Rob the American sent you. All right, guys, we'll see y'all next time for another iconic Manchester building and another super cool watch. See y'all. Hey y'all, Rob the American here, and welcome to Chapter 2 of Tales of Manchester and of Wristwatches. This is the channel where an American guy, me, takes us... Shush! And welcome to Chapter 2 of Tales of Manchester and... Hey y'all. Sheesh. Hey y'all, Rob the American here, and breathe. Hey y'all, welcome to breathe. All right, y'all. So that's it for me for this. All right, y'all. So that's it for me for this one. Oh. Oof. All right, guys. So y'all know the drill. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you like the channel, make sure you subscribe, because that really helps us to know that I'm not just talking to myself all the time, because it sometimes feels like it. But and feel free to give comments down below. But be merciful. Remember, I'm just one small guy, okay? Just doing this the best I can. So I look forward to next time. Thanks, guys.